Hey guys, my name's Nick, this is Walter, and welcome back to the shop. I'm getting ready to do some more organization projects pretty soon, and so I thought it might be worth going through a couple of ways that I found to maximize the space in my small shops. So this is going to be 5 tips that I have for doing just that. And I'll try to address some of the real common ones that you see everywhere and try and add some more value than just that. So stick around, let's get into it. So one of the really common space-saving ideas that you'll see here on YouTube is keeping things on wheels like this table saw has, which I think is generally a good idea, but my space is so small that I can't really wheel it out of the way anyways, so it stays where it is. I will say that it makes it easier when I'm rearranging the shop and trying to get a more productive workflow, but in terms of like day-to-day, it doesn't really do me any good. Another really common one that you'll see is using a French cleat system, and I'm just pointing to this one because it's the only one that I really have in my shop. And what that allows you to do is move things around as you need them. For another reason similar to the table saw, I generally don't move things around a whole lot, but it is really nice for being able to just quickly fasten something to the wall. Those 2 really common ones out of the way, we'll get into the number 1 spot on this list, which is using something like OSB for the walls in your shop. Instead of a French cleat system, which I'm not saying don't use a French cleat system, just in addition, having something like OSB walls or plywood walls, it gives you the ability to screw things down wherever. So for example, I've got this little saw till and a shelf for my hand planes, and all I did was screw them directly into the wall, and if I want to move them, I can screw them in anywhere in the shop. And with the OSB pattern, it seems like there's so much going on that even if you have a screw hole in it, it's not super distracting like it would be in drywall or something. You can kind of just take it out and leave it, and you won't be able to see it with all the other marks in the pattern of it. Point number 2 is using space that you otherwise wouldn't, in my case, the ceilings. So I'm in a unique position where the ceilings in my workshop are only about like 6'1", 6'2", so they're really easy to reach. That might not be the case with everybody, but it still works well for things that you don't need to often. For me, I store a long level, a straight edge, and my longer clamps up in the rafters, and I've just got these little fairing strips screwed underneath it, perfectly fine in terms of the weight. And I don't use these tools very often, so they're up out of the way, and they're actually in the back corner of my shop where I'm not in as much anyways. But when I need them for a while, and when I don't need them at all. So this works out pretty well. And tip number 3 for you, at least for consumables like glue and screws, I keep the amount that I'm going to use on like a working basis at hand or eye level, within a comfortable reaching distance, and then bigger portions of it in less desirable areas. So I've got just my regular glue bottles up there, and then like full gallons to resupply them down below. Just like I have the screws that I use most often over here, but then I've got big buckets of screws over there. And what that allows me to do is buy them at a discount, because the more you buy, the better price you'll get per each one. But I only have the amount that I use on a regular basis within arm's distance of me. And tip number 4 is to utilize benchtop tools. Even if you've got the money and maybe even the space for full-size tools, it may be worth considering benchtop tools just because you can pick them up and move them out of the way. I like an idea like this for a tool cabinet for benchtop tools that you can then just use the horizontal surface of one tool and kind of interchange them between which one you're using. We all know how valuable horizontal space is in a workshop, and that if you have any extra, it's going to get taken up by something. And then my last tip for you guys is to invest more in tools that you bring to work pieces rather than tools that you bring work pieces to. A table saw and a bandsaw are really valuable tools, but they need an equal amount of infeed and outfeed space as the piece is big. So tools like the ones that I have listed or laid out in front of you, and even like a track saw, may be a really good idea if you're limited in the amount of space that you have in your shop, but you still want to build some bigger pieces that are still cool. Things like straight edges make a lot of these tasks a lot easier and more repeatable, and there really isn't a limit on what you can build. Not that his shop is super small, but Matt's shop here is, I think, really cool and a great example of when you bring your tools to the workpiece itself as opposed to the other way around, how much you can really do in a smaller space. Well, I know this is a little bit different of a video than I normally do, but I wanted to thank you guys for watching this far anyways. If you like these kind of videos, let me know and I'd be happy to do more kind of lists and, you know, little tips and tricks that I picked up along the way. Wanted to thank you again for watching all the way through. I'd welcome you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We got some fun projects coming up pretty soon here as time permits. And yeah, have fun building.